Hello students, today in this class we are going to start with the chapter 7 of class 8, that is conservation of plants and animals. So in this chapter we are going to study about what is deforestation, what are the causes and consequences of deforestation, and what is biosphere reserve, what do you mean by flora and fauna, and what do you mean by endemic species, what are endangered species, what is wildlife sanctuary, what is national park, and what is migration, and also some of the concepts of reforestation. Okay, so these are the concepts what we are going to study in this chapter. So we'll see one by one. So the first concept is deforestation. So what do you mean by deforestation? You have heard in the news channels, due to deforestation, floods are occurring. Due to deforestation, the pollution is going to increase. Yes. So what's the definition of deforestation? So the clearing of forest and using the land for other purposes is called as deforestation. So what is deforestation? The cutting down of the trees on a large scale. There is nothing but clearing of forest. So where you can see a large number of trees in the forest area. So these forest areas are going to clear or going to cut down. Why? Due to the land. To obtain land for various other reasons, we are cutting down all the trees. So this concept is called as deforestation. So the definition is the clearing of forests and using the land for other purposes is called as deforestation. Next, what are the causes of deforestation? Causes in the sense, why they are cutting down the trees? What is the need for the deforestation? So first point is procuring land for cultivation. Procuring land for cultivation. So for cultivation, why they only need forest area? Why? Because as the population has been increased, there is no land for cultivation. So what they'll do? So they'll cut down all the forest areas and they will obtain the land for cultivation. Next, building houses and factories. Again, the same reason. Increase in population. Increase in population has made people, they don't have the home. They don't have buildings to stay. So what they'll do? They will clear the forest and they will start building the houses and factories, using wood as a fuel for making furnitures. So this is also one of the main reason why they will cut down the forest, because of wood. They obtain wood for furnitures and also as a fuel. Then the natural causes of deforestation are forest fires and drought. So the first 3 points are the man-made causes, and also natural causes will be of 2, that is forest fires and drought. So what do you mean by forest fires? So recently you have seen the forest have been got fired because of temperature, high temperature. Understood? So then one more is drought. Drought means no rain for long time. There is no rainfall for long time. So that is called as drought. Second concept is consequences of deforestation. Consequences means what are the problems we are facing due to deforestation. Okay, so increase in temperature and population level on the earth. Obviously, right? So if there is no trees, there is no one to absorb the carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide level increases on the earth, so then it leads to greenhouse effect. So no, so this increase in temperature and population level on the earth because of deforestation. Next, increase in the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere leading to global warming. Yes, I have told you, increase in the level of carbon dioxide. Why it will increase? Why it will increase in the sense, if the trees are more, then these trees will absorb this carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide level on the earth will be maintained. If there is no trees to absorb the carbon dioxide, then carbon dioxide range will increase. Okay, so this carbon dioxide, increase in carbon dioxide on the atmosphere will lead you to the global warming. Next, lowering of groundwater level. Lowering of groundwater means underground water level is going to decrease. Why? Because if we grow more and more trees, so the roots will absorb the water. So whatever the rainwater will be flowing on the ground, so it will be absorbed by the roots. If there is no more and more trees, then no one will be there to absorb the water. So underground water level will be decreased. Next, disturb the balance in nature. So it will create imbalance in nature. See, as I told you, the carbon dioxide level will increase, underground water level will be decreased, correct? Temperature will be increased. So this will be imbalance in nature. It will be effect for everyone on the who is living on the earth. Okay. So next, decrease in rainfall leading to drought. I told you, create imbalance in nature. So if there is no trees, there will be no rain. No trees, no rain. And you have also understood in the previous chapter, where you will grow more and more trees, there will be more and more rain. Example I have told you, Madikeri, Coorg, Chikmagalur, correct? So there, most of the year it will be raining. Understood? So if there is no tree, there will be no rain. It will lead to the drought. Next, soil erosion and decreases in fertility leading to desertification. Soil erosion will be occurring. What is soil erosion? The eroding of top layer of the soil. The top layer will be a fertile soil, which will be helpful for cultivation, which will be helpful for agriculture. You can grow more crops if the top soil is fertile. So this fertile top layer of the soil will be getting eroded if there is no more and more trees. Why? So if more and more trees if you grow, the roots will absorb, roots will hold the soil. If there is no trees, then there will be no one to hold the soil. So what happens? If the rainwater, it will be flowing on the ground, the top layer also will be getting eroded along with the water. So this will lead you to soil erosion. And what is desertification? So the getting eroded of the top layer of the soil lead you to desertification. See, the top layer will get eroded. You can see the hard rocks. So the layer will become hard rocky layer. And there humus will be less. What is humus? Humus is nothing but the organic matter of animals and plants. So there humus will be less. So it will become like a desert. There you cannot grow any crops. There you cannot grow any plants. So this process is called as desertification. Okay. Next, decrease in water holding capacity of soil leading to the floods. So as I told you, if the top layer of the soil get eroded, or if there will be no plants or trees, then there will be no one to absorb the water. Understood? So the soil will lose its absorbing capacity. The soil will lose its absorbing capacity. So that is nothing but percolation rate. It will be called as percolation. The absorbing capacity of the soil is called as percolation. This percolation rate will be decreased so that it will lead you to the floods. So why floods occur? If the water which is fallen on the ground, it is not absorbed by the soil or the underground, then the water will be stagnant on the ground. So if this water continuously increases, then it will lead you to the floods. Okay. So see, these are some of the consequences what we are facing due to deforestation. Next, you have conservation of forest and wildlife. So what do you mean by conservation? Conservation is nothing but save. How we can save the forest and wildlife? So we'll see. Forest and wildlife can be conserved by setting up an areas like Biosphere Reserve, wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. Okay. First one is Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere Reserve is a large area of protected land for conservation of biodiversity and the traditional life of tribal living there. So it's nothing but it's a place. It is an area where it is protected. The area which is protected for conserving forest and also a wildlife. That is biodiversity. Biodiversity means what? The variety of plants, animals and also microorganisms. So these are involved in biodiversity. Okay, so we are protecting biodiversity and also the traditional life of tribal living there. So this is nothing but Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere Reserve is a area which is protected for the conservation of biodiversity and also the traditional life of tribal living there. Then what do you mean by national park? National parks are also the areas reserved for wildlife. It is only reserved for wildlife. Okay, where they can freely use their habitats and also the natural resources available there. See the difference. Biosphere reserve, we are protecting biodiversity, where the plants also we are conserving, animals also we are conserving, and also the tribal people living there. But in national parks, it is a place, it is a restricted, it is a protected place where the wildlife can stay. Okay, so the national parks are the areas reserved for wildlife where they can freely use their habitats and the natural resources which are available in the national parks. Okay, next, wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuaries are the areas where animals are protected for any disturbance to them and their habitat. So in wildlife sanctuaries also we are conserving the wild animals, not only wild animals, all the animals protected from any disturbance. So there no one are allowed to disturb the animals, so it is restricted there. In wildlife sanctuaries, no one are allowed to disturb the animals. Okay. Next you have a biosphere reserve. So we have already studied biosphere reserve means it's a large area of protected land for conservation of biodiversity and the traditional life of tribal living in there. Okay. Next, what do you mean by biodiversity? So biodiversity, there is a definition. So biodiversity is the variety of plants, animals, and also microorganisms found in the area. So variety of plants, n number of variety of plants, n number of variety of animals, so variety of microorganisms, all are found in that area. So it's called as a biodiversity. So the Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve consists of a national park called Satpura and two wildlife sanctuaries called Bori and Pachmarhi. Okay, so one of the example of biosphere reserve, it's nothing but Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve. So this biosphere reserve consists of one national park, that is called as Satpura National Park, and also two wildlife sanctuaries, that is nothing but Bori Wildlife Sanctuary and Pachmarhi Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. Next we have flora and fauna. So as I told you, what do you mean by flora and fauna? Flora is nothing but the plants found in particular area. Flora is nothing but plants. Fauna is nothing but animals. So instead of plants and animals, why we are calling flora and fauna in the sense? So these plants and animals only found in that area. They are particular to that area. So they are called as flora and fauna. So example, the flora of Pachmarhi consists of sal, teak, wild mango, jamun, silver ferns, etc. So these plants we cannot find anywhere else. We can only find in that Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve. Okay, so they are called as flora of Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve. Or the animals, for example, wild dog, cheetal, wolf, leopard, blue bull, barking deer, etc. So these are the fauna of that Pachmarhi Biosphere Reserve. So they can find only in that Biosphere Reserve. So they are called as flora and fauna. So flora and fauna means they are the flora means these are the plants found in that particular area. Fauna means these are the animals found in that particular area. Understood? Next we have endemic species. Endemic species are those species of plants and animals found only in a particular area and not found anywhere else. For example, take example of kangaroo. Okay, so this kangaroo will be there only in Australia. You can find in India. No, it will be only particular for that area. So that is Australia. Okay, so those type of animals or plants are called as endemic species. So endemic species are those species of plants and animals found only in particular area and not found anywhere else. So example, sal and wild mango are the endemic flora of Pachmarhi, whereas bison, Indian giant, squirrel and flying squirrel are endemic fauna of this area. Okay, so I have told you there flora and fauna. So if you are telling individually, only plants means you're telling flora, only animals means you're telling fauna. So if you want to describe both of them, then you can tell endemic species. Endemic species means the endemic species are those species of plants and animals. Okay, here we are going to combine both plants and animals. We are going to combine both, so only we are called it as endemic species. So endemic species nothing but which are only particular to that area and it is not found anywhere else. Understood? Next we have a wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuaries are the areas where animals are protected from any disturbance. I have told you, right? Any disturbance to them or their habitat. That the killing or capturing of animals in wildlife sanctuaries is strictly prohibited. So they are the hunters. So there is no place for hunters and there is no place for catching the animals or disturbing the animals or feeding them. No. So there is no permission to that. Okay, so wildlife sanctuaries are the areas where animals are protected from any disturbance to them or their habitat. You should not disturb their habitat also. You should not disturb the animals also. So how they can disturb? So they are given there is no chance of killing the animal, there is no chance of capturing the animals, there is no point of feeding the animals. Okay, so these are strictly prohibited then. Next is national park. So national parks are the areas reserved for wildlife where they can freely use their habitat and natural resources. So here, example I have told you, Bandipura National Park. So there they will allow you to go, but in the particular vehicle. So they only they take you inside. So there you can see the animals are freely moving. They will not show in a cage. So Mysore Zoo is a place where animals are put it in a cage. But here it's not like that. They are free to use their habitats in their natural resources. For example, they have given Satpura National Park in the first reserve forest in India. This will be one more question. Satpura National Park is the first reserve forest in India. Okay. Next you have endangered species. Don't get confused with endemic species and endangered species. Endemic is nothing but only particular about that area and they are not found anywhere else. Then what do you mean by endangered animals? So endangered animals are those animals whose numbers are diminishing and might face extinction. So the population of these animals are getting reduced and in the future they may get extinct. So those type of animals are called as endangered animals. Example, tiger is one of the many animals which are slowly diminishing. To protect the tigers in our country, the government launched the Project Tiger to ensure the survival of tiger population. So, for example, the population of tiger was getting reduced in India. So that Indian government has launched the project called as Project Tiger. So what is the function of this Project Tiger? So they will ensure the survival of tiger population. So some more examples they are given. Dinosaurs have already become extinct. So you have seen in the movies and all that the dinosaurs were there previously in the early years. Yes or no? So now they are extinct. So they have diminished. So those animals are called as endangered animals. Okay. So red data book are books which keep a record of all endangered plants and animals. So they'll maintain a book for those endangered animals. Those animals were there and they are not there now. So those animals are called as endangered animals. So these endangered animals data has been maintained in the book called as red data book. They will be asking one more question. What is red data book? So the red data book is a record of all endangered species. Next you have ecosystem. An ecosystem consists of all the plants, animals and microorganisms living in an area along with non-living components like climate, water, soil, etc. So there is a difference between biodiversity and also ecosystem. Biodiversity which involves only the variety of plants, animals and microorganisms, whereas ecosystem consists of all the plants, animals and microorganisms living in an area along with the non-living components like climate, water, soil, etc. Understood? So this is nothing but ecosystem. Then we have migration. Next we have migration. So migration is nothing but, you have studied in 7th standard, right? What is migration? Migration is nothing but the shifting of birds from its own habitat to other habitat due to climatic changes. Okay, so the migration is a movement of animals from its own habitat to some other habitat for a particular time period every year due to climatic changes or for breeding. So what is migration? It is a movement of animals from its own habitat, from their own habitat to their other habitat for a particular time period. Not completely year they will stay there, only for that particular time period. Why they will change? Because of climatic changes or for breeding. Okay, there will be two reasons why the animals get migrated. One is for climatic changes and one more is for breeding. So birds which fly very long distances to reach another land are called as migratory birds. So what are migratory birds? The birds which fly very long distance to reach another land are called as migratory birds. So example, we will be having a Siberian crane. The Siberian crane is a bird which will come from Siberia to India in Bharatpur in Rajasthan. Okay, so you can see in Rajasthan, Bharatpur. So there the animals will be migrating, or the birds will be migrating from Siberia. Okay, so 15,000 kilometers it can travel. Understood? Yes, so that's an example of migratory bird. Next you have a recycling of paper. About 17 full-grown trees are required to produce 1 ton of paper. Paper can be recycled about 5 to 7 times for use. We should save, reuse and recycle paper to save not only trees but also to save the energy, water and chemicals used to make paper. So here about 17 full grown trees. So the tree which is completely grown. So they will take 17 full grown trees to produce 1 ton of paper. Okay, for the first time. So if you recycle that paper, you can recycle it 5 to 7 times. The same paper you can use it to 5 to 7 times if you recycle it. But people will not do that. What you will do? You will write, you will put it in dustbin, you will put it in fire. Should not do that. So they're asking you people to recycle the paper. Recycle 5 to 7 times. You can recycle a paper 5 to 7 times. So it can save not only trees, but also it can save the energy, the chemicals, electricity, etc. Understood? So this is the main reason why you need to recycle. So there is a chance of recycling the paper. You can recycle the paper 5 to 7 times. So when it is available, you need to utilize. So we need to recycle the paper so that it can save the trees, you can save the electricity, you can save the energy, you can save the chemicals. Correct? Yes. And the last concept is reforestation. So in the starting of the lesson, you have studied about deforestation. Now we are going to study about reforestation. So what do you mean by reforestation? It is a restocking of destroyed forest by planting new trees. So previously there was a forest. So there the trees have been cut down. Instead of the cut down trees, you are growing new trees. Okay. So in the place of cut down trees, you are going to grow new trees. So this is called as reforestation. It is a restocking, replacing, you can tell, replacing of destroyed forest by planting new trees. So we should plant at least as many trees as we cut. So if you have a right to cut a tree, then you should also have a right to grow a tree. You can cut a tree, but also you need to grow a tree in the place of cut down tree. Okay, so we should plant at least as many trees as we cut. We have already caused a lot of damage to our forest. If we have to regain our green wealth, reforestation is only the option. So That's what they are telling. If you have an option to cut a tree, you should also have an option of growing a tree in the place of cut down tree. So the restocking of the destroyed forest by planting new trees is called as reforestation. Okay. Hope everyone understood all the concepts. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. Thank you, students.